FISA court exposes Obama's abuse of the NSA to spy on Americans. Washington, D.C. The Obama White House used the most sensitive, intrusive surveillance systems of the NSA to spy on Americans. A ruling by FISA court preceding Judge Rosemary Collyer finds that 85% of the NSA database requests under the FISA Section 702 authority at the DOJ were illegal and or non-compliant. Surveillance systems including PRISM spying on hundreds if not thousands of Americans, including Donald Trump and those around him. Moreover, Collyer finds that the Department of Justice showed an appalling lack of institutional candor. The FISA Judge Collyer rules illegal spying did occur. Back in April of 2017, Judge Collyer found that the unwarranted and illegal surveillance of American citizens was done by the highest reaches of the Obama administration for at least 4 years prior to Trump, starting back in 2012. Moreover, James Comey did authorize and allow for limitless, continuous, unlawful, and warrantless access by 3 federal contractors. Now, out of approximately 5,000 searches of the NSA database from October of 2016 to April of 2017 in the National Security Division of the DOJ, 4,250 of those searches were deemed illegal or non-compliant by the presiding judge of the FISA court, which is Judge Rosemary Collyer.
So it is to the printing press, to the recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life.
All right. Without debate, without
How
criticism.
we doing?
Can be.
Without reproach, without optics being tainted.
What's going on,
You know how
Patriots?
we're talking, people.
Gitmo ready.
Pamela Perry.
Gitmo
Baltimore
ready.
Brian's got his popcorn.
Yes, he does.
Patty
He's
Blythe.
Get your popcorn here. Get your popcorn. Eric Gibson, the lone wolf, liberal. I'll show that.
Lone Wolf.
A little bit of lone
I'll
wolf.
take care of that. Yeah, the Lone Wolfie.
Some
Mario Collegenio. Sorry. Arrest now, I believe you. Yes, yes. We just love calling out to all you guys. It's because of you guys that we're all fired up, trying to, work our 4th point of contact off until we can get out here and get back with you guys. Mary Lindsay.
Hey,
We got Mike and Ben. Hey, guys.
David Vincent, Kevin Martin, Cameron Christensen. Yeah, so we after I posted that video earlier, I saw some comments. People were saying the bar interview that aired on Sunday or Sunday night, he said that he didn't think it was treasonous or to the levels of treasonous. And I don't know what exactly was asked. I haven't watched that interview in full, but they were basically, I guess he was talking and they're like, well, Trump's saying treason. Do you think? And he's like, I think there's some long jail sentences. I don't know about treason. And everyone's kind of like, what? He's not, he's not on page. And hey, who knows what he's investigating? There might be other people, but I guess things have been turned over to the Attorney General. Barr knows some of these FISA things and people's names. I don't know.
It's looking mighty sticky for them flies going over the swamp in D.C. for sure. I mean,
then there's a matter on saying things publicly before they come out legally. You don't want to taint or say too much.
Well,
I don't
optics, we don't want to it's anything like we've talked about this many times in Garage Talk when you're getting a jury selected and they talk to, let's say it's a workman's comp case, right? And they're going to ask you, have you ever been personally a part of workman's comp? And you're like, no. Okay, he's a good juror. Next guy, yeah, I had my arm broken and blah blah blah. Okay, he's not gonna be a good juror. It's like they're selecting these people for a reason. For selectively, like, look, they need to be untainted, unbiased. We want this information getting out, but at the same aspect, it's crazy. It's like information is bursting at the seams, and it's at a point to where people are going down, stuff's happening. He's like words like spying, treason, we have high crimes and misdemeanors in this, in an impeachment process. I mean, some of these words that we're hearing, like as much as we drink water, has magnitudes that people are not fully grasping, I believe. I mean, all you guys here that are watching them with us right now, obviously you guys are the woke ones. We're kind of preaching to the choir for you guys. It's going to be all those who watch this later on and come across this and like, oh my gosh, this is interesting.
Well, the bigger thing is
all these cool patriots.
They're saying that they, there is reason to open up the beginning. I mean, half the Democrats aren't going for it, but if you got like, well, what about the people at the FBI that were investigating the text that we know of? Well, that doesn't really show. I mean, hey, you guys had him in. He sat here and said he wasn't biased. That even though that there's a bunch of text. It's like, well, when do we listen to the person being accused? I mean, that would be the same for Trump. It's like, hey, we got Russia-Trump collusion. No, I didn't. End of story. Don't look into it. Oh, okay, Mr. President, we won't. We're done. Oh no, we've had 3 years of exactly. So we don't ask these people. So it's the media saying, nah, we don't see it. Well, it's like there are some texts. They look a little shaky. So should we get more? Don't you guys want to dig and get more and be yelling? Let's look at all of it, because we know there's a lot of more bad texts. There's probably ones that say way worse stuff. We've just gotten the crumbs. We've gotten a little bit to get your interest.
Not quite
going.
5,000 texts worth of crumbs, not quite. It's only like 4,800 of the 5,000 so-called that we've got that really are applicable to this particular investigation, and that's like daggum near like 98% of the texts. I would say that's the body of the overall text with the other one. It's insanity, and the thing is with the words they're throwing around and what's going on, this is amazing. This is amazing time.
Yeah. So we don't know the extent. We don't know. Some people are saying Barr's going against Trump ? Like what's going on? I don't know. We're gonna look here. Let's listen here. We'll listen in.
Yesterday, the Attorney General discussed why he cleared President Trump of obstruction after the special counsel declined to do so.
He said that he couldn't exonerate the president. You looked at that evidence, and you did. I mean, what's the fundamental difference between your view and his?
Well, I think Bob said that he was not going to engage in the analysis. He was not going to make a determination one way or the other. We analyzed the law and the facts, and a group of us spent a lot of time doing that and determined that both as a matter of law, many of the instances would not amount to obstruction.
As a matter of law?
As a matter of law. In other words, we didn't agree with the legal analysis. A lot of the legal analysis in the report, it did not reflect the views of the department. It was the views of a particular lawyer or lawyers. So we applied what we thought was the right law.
That decision, offered up in a 4-page summary, opened the Attorney General to criticism.
The response was that you were too soft on the president, that actually the special counsel was a little sharper on obstruction.
I was just trying to state the bottom line, and the bottom line was that Bob Mueller identified some episodes. He did not reach a conclusion. He provided both sides of the issue, and his conclusion was he wasn't exonerating the president, but he wasn't finding a crime either.
I do not believe it is appropriate for me to speak further about the investigation.
While Barr testified before Congress about the special counsel's report.
So that's already interesting. My report speaks for itself. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Me and Ben are talking about this. It's like he was trying to throw, like, I think because of his ties, Mueller's alone with the people involved in this, he should have recused himself. That might come out yet. Like, you should have recused yourself. You guys are all worried about all these other people, and but he shouldn't. Well, Mueller's like, well, I'm not the one that made the recommendation. Congress called upon it. And they're saying that that Mueller could have made a determination, but he didn't. So therefore, Barr and Rod Rosenstein felt like they needed to. So they looked over all of Mueller. They were kind of shocked after 2 years there was no conclusion. So they made one based off the report, and then Mueller was mad about that. That's what they're saying. Or I guess maybe Mueller didn't want to, and he wanted to come out publicly like he did, and then give it to where Congress could kind of pick up and be like, well, with what he said, we need to, do impeachment and get more answers here. So there was something going on there, but Mueller did not like when Barr made the determination and then came out and publicly and said it, because that wasn't the way it was supposed to go. It was supposed to be left to make Congress, the Democrats anyway, go crazy to do impeachment, like they're still talking about, which will never fly. But
I mean, let's just take a minute here just to put a brakes on some things. What is the Attorney General? What is his position? He, she, whoever it is, right? Like, what do they do? Who do they represent? That's like us, the people, right? Like am I wrong? Let me know, guys. You guys tell me here in the chat room, because and I'll continue my story. Let me know what the actual Attorney General's job is to do. First of all, he's an attorney. Let me know as well, right? So what is he supposed to critically, his only job is to see, is it law? Is it the broken of law? Is it obstruction of law? Is it what infractions of law, right? And so if he told you, right, clean and clear, there was no by law. Are you sure by law? Was it the one? Is that the standard you guys use there? Are you sure? Is the law one you guys use? Yep, that's the law. We use here the standard, because he's telling a reporter, yes, by law we found nothing. So isn't that what we are a country of law? And you are innocent until proven guilty. And so he did mention a couple of things that Mueller did state, or in the report, there were some episodes that there was some concern over, but there was no breaking of the law, so therefore they couldn't do anything. Kind of like they were snooping for something. Episodes, is that like a nice way of saying they maybe have found something that looked a little shady, but it really just meant the guy was a jerk, or this person was really kind of not so nice to this person. He could have handled himself in a better way, but there was no obstruction of the law. And that's what we're here to do is,
well, to have obstruction of the law, he's not charged with obstruction of a crime that he never committed in the first place. So that's the other issue. Typically, folks, that's an add-on crime. That's a process thing.
Some of you guys are getting it. You all know.
That would be like, you can't have not the first crime that you're initially charged with and be like, well, we didn't find you on that first murder charge, but we think you tried to obstruct us. And you could do that. You very could well be a jerk day in and day out. But we know that's not the case either. We know that Trump turned over all his paperwork. He turned in over everything. They said that there was nothing. It wasn't like the Hillary thing, like, hey, we need them emails you never turned in 4 years ago. Oh, well, give me 8 months. And then 8 months later, here's what I deem to be governmental. And we know that was a lie. Comey came out and named all those. So it is funny. We're getting through it. But typically, the attorney general or a prosecutor, anyone that comes out and makes an official statement, even if you have a local crime, a murder or something, and they got people that they deemed, they won't normally come out, we got a guy that we think is the key suspect, and then they'll come out and clear that guy. People are like, what about the guy you guys arrested 2 days ago? He has been cleared. We is no longer deemed a suspect, even though we think he's kind of shady, and there might be some other things that you in the community need to look out for on him. That's kind of what Mueller did, because he didn't. You don't leave it. These guys are deciding, and if he can't come to a determination based off 2.5 years, $40 million, maybe he shouldn't be the head of what he was doing, the special counsel. You got the other guy that maybe shouldn't have been at the head of the FBI, Mueller or Comey, because he couldn't come up with the way to determine whether a FISA was good or not good, because that's another thing. He told Trump. Or early on that the FISA was totally unverified and salacious, and then later on it was, oh no, we got blah blah blah, and it's like, which one is it? So anyway, you can't come out in limbo like that. There's no crime, or for what we're looking at, or there's nothing that we could prove, folks. After 2.5 years, we needed a little more, but you had access to everything. We just think, given more time, he would have done something, but he didn't. So therefore, but we still think he's kind of a shady guy. Just keep that in mind. You don't do that. That's why everyone's really upset with him. People in law, actually, that kind of,
because this is Yeah, you're right, because we're not getting down on those guys, boots in the ground, trying to go through these laws, because that's what they stand on. Their firm foundation is the law, and when you stand on the law, you're like, okay, from here, what do I see in this? And so if there's no breaking of the law, no collusion, no obstruction, all this kind of stuff, I think we're seeing these episodes they're talking about is going to be linking the other side with the Clintons and Obama and all these different individuals, the cabal, if you will, the deep staters, with the collusion, with the trying to subvert. We were talking about this early in Garage Talk. No matter how you put it, there's a seed that's been planted into America's consciousness of collusion with Russia and meddling with the 2016 election, right? We were talking about this.
Yes.
Now, everybody knows, according to CNN and MSM and all the mainstream media, that it was Trump and Russia, and they colluded, and he is a Russian spy, because he was asking the Russians for Hillary Clinton's emails because she wouldn't give it to us. Well, hopefully they had them. And what's going to happen is we're all ready for Russia-Trump collusion, but when it comes out, it's going to be Clinton and that dirty cabal of people and Obama involved, and how this cabal has started back all the way to 2012. And, dare I say further than that, but this is pretty much what we have tangible evidence on right now.
Yeah.
So it's going to be crazy, and we're all hoping for it. They're just going to be shocked about who it does come down for. So it's going to be interesting. It's kind of hard to sway one way or another on Barr, because we know that our president has spoken highly of Barr, that he is critical, and he'll make the right decision according to the law, which is what his duties are, and he'll fulfill them of the utmost, I guess, of his abilities.
I think some of that stuff like that, him coming out in a little, just a little interview and saying maybe a little, like the reporter, well, what do you think about him saying this? Well, I don't know about the extent of that. And he never, a lot of people, like somebody that wrote that, if I go back and watch it, we have it up, but it could be that he doesn't say anything like that. He says something else. And I get that a lot, like, oh. And then that'll keep the mainstream chewing on something like that. Well, Barr even said the attorney general. And then when it comes out and there is charges, they'll be like, oh, well, he said there wasn't. And then if you go back and watch that little clip, it was like, well, he's just on an interview. Like, you guys say lots of things that are lies. And, when it comes down to, like, well, that was just my opinion. I thought maybe it wasn't to the levels of treason. I knew it was crimes, but I didn't know how deep. And I guess this guy over here made heck, you got this FISA court judge saying things. She's already determined. I guess this has been determined way back in April 17. So it's like, why didn't we hear about it? Well, this is FISA court. This is they sat there and they did things for months. They let this go on a little longer, and then they got all the proof of it. It's almost like you found out what was going on. So
well, it could be of what Q had dropped early on in early 17 and things of this nature, that when it was getting hot and heavy. Who knows the extent of it, but we know this is coming down. This the boundaries are like there's no more anymore. They're going for broke. They want the impeachment process, either high crimes or misdemeanors, and they're pushing for that. And there is no high crime, so we were talking maybe they'll go for misdemeanors for the impeachment process. But
I agree.
I mean, this is craziness, man.
All right,
what do you guys think?
We'll get through a little bit more of this Barr interview, and then I got an article I want to pull up, and I got some letters to read, folks. So we got quite a few to get in here.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Let's listen to a little more of this, see what he gets into.
Mueller wants the report to speak for itself and signaled he does not want to testify.
Do you think he should?
It's up to Bob, but I think the line he's drawing, which is that he's going to stick to what he said in the report, is the proper line for any department official.
We asked Barr about Mueller's final caution.
That there were multiple, systematic efforts to interfere in our election.
How's the Justice Department working now to ensure this doesn't happen again in 2020?
Yes, well, we do have I think a increasingly robust program that is focusing on foreign influence in our election process. I talked recently to the director of the FBI about putting together a special high-level group to make sure we're totally prepared for the upcoming elections.
Do you think enough was done in 2016?
Probably not.
The president has repeatedly accused former intelligence officials of dropping the ball by fixating too much on his campaign.
They were spying. They were spying on our campaign.
You've testified that you believe spying occurred
Yes.
into the Trump campaign.
Yes.
You've gotten some criticism for using that word.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's become a dirty word somehow. It has never been for me. I think there's nothing wrong with spying. The question is always whether it's authorized by law.
Some former intelligence chiefs have said the president has made that word somewhat pejorative, that they're spying, this is a witch hunt, this is a hoax. And so your use of that word makes it seem that you're being a loyalist.
You know, it's part of the craziness of the modern day that if a president uses a word, then all of a sudden it becomes off bounds. It's a perfectly good English word. I'll continue to use it.
What have you seen? What evidence? What makes you think I need to take a look at this?
Like many other people who are familiar with intelligence activities, I had a lot of questions about what was going on, and I assumed I'd get answers when I went in, and I have not gotten answers that are at all satisfactory, and in fact have probably more questions, and that some of the facts that I've learned don't hang together with the official explanations of what happened.
What do you mean by that?
That's all I really will say. Things are just not jiving.
Well, that is interesting. Jan Crawford joins us now from Anchorage, Alaska.
Jiving.
So, Jan, Attorney General Barr said that the Justice Department lawyers disagree at all.
Justice, he said whether or not you believe there is a potential of indictment once he leaves office. Now, that's separate from Congress, and he did. You believe there is a potential counsel that he could not have made that call himself.
He's taken a lot of criticism
Trying
about
to see
that.
where this part everyone's talking about, or you.
Thing would be released later, but it wasn't the original plan. He thought that they were going to be able to release a more.
I don't think there's much more.
About the timelines don't add.
So I didn't hear nothing about him saying anything other. I don't know. I have to keep looking. I'll watch that on my own. But that was interesting. He's like me. Well, Trump's repeatedly said these words, and by you going with them, well, the media's repeatedly. And this started before Trump won. I'd be cutting in, and my news, CNN might be on, sometimes Fox, and I was hearing Trump said another racist remark today. I'm like, what did he say today? And then they'd show this clip, and all he'd say is, we're going to build up our borders. We need to remain strong. And people that are illegal coming here, they need to do it the right way. And then that would be it. And then they'd cut back to the CNN guy. He was like, you hear it? Him talking about the wall like that? Build a wall? I was like, where was a racist remark? And they were trying to change words in front of me. And I was like, whoa, I don't need that. So
I know your
spying.
word, kung fu.
Spying is what's hurting them and making them melt. So that's interesting.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, what I basically heard, what he came in, he had questions. They weren't giving him the answers that were matching up with the paperwork that his office had received when he first came in. And he went back to repeatedly, and it was very, very poor. Comms weren't quite at the strongest point as they are now, obviously. And he said it quite eloquently. Things weren't jiving. And if things don't feel right, and this is a guy who knows law, has been around it for 40, 50, he's probably went to school 60 years ago. And this kind of law doesn't change. I mean, some of the changes we're talking about were like in the late 1800s.
Well, and he's, like you said, he came in to do a job that was kind of not getting done before. So then he had questions about this whole thing, and he kept asking people that should know. And he might got a lot of talk like, I'll tell you what, we were all really concerned about the 2016 election, so we did things.
Yes.
I know, I get you, Greg, but what happened to get this? Well, we got word of blah, 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 and we started doing this, and then paperwork was put in. It was all legal. Yeah, but how did you guys get that one word? Maybe there was something that just didn't, like there's always that
As
one thing.
As a lawyer, they
like,
always
that don't quite jive up right there. Well, you need to talk to Dennis, all right? Dennis knows a little bit more than I do. And he's going around to these people, and they keep giving other names, and he's like, something ain't adding up. Who knows? He would know, and he said it. Things aren't adding up. He can't get the questions answered. People aren't giving him the answers that need to be heard because they can't. So that is an issue that needs to be looked at. We can't just, bury this under the rug and it'll go away. That's what we really want. You're going to crack something wide open that you're not ready for, Barr. Who knows what they're telling them, but it's
I think Barr was asking the same question we're all asking. Where was the original FISA request, and then what information was it original request? Because all this other stuff is the secondary stuff after the first original, and any good investigator worth his salt goes back to the first sentence, to the first paragraph of, okay, this happened, this crime was broken, then you go from there.
Yes.
We haven't gotten that part, and I think that's the not jiving part. So
all right, here we'll
jump. You
had what do you got?
Article, yeah.
Jump into this. Go ahead and read that a little. This guy's running, by the way, for the Democratic Party. He's like the second youngest, I think, person in in all of Congress or something. But anyway, go ahead, Eric Swalwell. Go ahead.
Swalwell promises a gun buyback for quote military assaults or military-style assault weapons. The responses are hilarious. So we don't give you no gun buyback. Look at him. He just looks like a tool. Oh, he's
a candidate. Tool. He's a candidate for president, folks, who is polling at 0%, by the way. All right.
Dude, he looks like a really super young Trump who never really quite made his millions and then into billions. He just was like, he wasn't like into
pulled his own weight.
He was into duplexes and never got into hotels. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he was just thinking about mowing his yard for the first time. And
he's the coolest thing he did in his life was play high school football quarterback, and he got all the girls
until he tore his rotary cup. All right, so he's a candidate for president who is polling at 0%. Folks, promised to ban the military-style assault weapons, and was met with a flurry of hilarious responses after asking his followers, "Are you with me? I am the only candidate calling for a ban and buyback of our military-style assault weapons. Keep your pistols, keep your shotguns, keep your rifles, but let's take the most dangerous guns out of the hands of the most dangerous people. Are you with me?" Representative Eric Swalwell, Democratic out of California, said in a sad attempt to pander to the anti-Second Amendment left. There's this tweet.
Oh my gosh.
There's this actual tweet.
I'm the only candidate calling for a ban and buyback of military-style assault weapons. He said, "Keep your rifles." Well, which rifle is that?
My AR.
That's my squirrel rifle. In gun violence. Wow.
Keep the most hands out of the dangerous people.
Dangerous people, but it's okay with pistols and shotguns at close range. Only this. No evil man takes a shotgun. That's for bird hunting.
The evil man takes a shotty out of your hand. So the responses are exactly what one might expect to one of the least favored presidential candidates, polling at 0. No, InfoWars producer Rob Dew said bluntly, right here, no. This guy just said no.
No. This is insanity, you guys.
You can't ban the most commonly sold rifle in the USA today and imprison anyone who doesn't want to hand them over for some cash. No, I'm not with you, said podcaster Cam Edwards.
This is just insanity. You guys are watching. They're it's almost like the deep state's socialistics testing. They're just testing to see if any takers are there. Will you guys truly give up everything for the illusion of your freedom? Yeah, this is crazy. Good day, sir. No.
No. Good day, sir.
That's out of here. Willy Wonka's getting crazy with you. Looking at your chocolate gun and shoot you in the face and split that wig.
Get that golden bowlie. Read that one there.
They are statistically the least dangerous firearms. Yeah, we've always talked about this, you guys. Listen. So, assault style rifles, they are statistically the least dangerous firearms used in under 3% of all firearm homicides. So, no.
I just jumped on it. There it is.
Neither
ad.
Oh, hey. Oh, get them damn ads. Neither I nor basic math are in the favor of this nonsense, said Heritage Foundation Amy Swearer.
Jeez.
Just basic math and myself tend to agree.
Swearer. Pretty smart there, Amy Swearer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hey.
So the tweet garnered 11,000 responses. The top responses were all negative. In short, Americans made their message clear to the candidate. The guns aren't for sale. Swalwell became notorious for losing debates with Fox News host Tucker Carlson before entering. He was too every night. Before entering the presidential race, he appeared to threaten to use nuclear weapons on United States citizens in an event that they rebelled if the weapons were seized by the government. Jeez.
Oh my gosh.
Jeez.
File this one under poor gun control messaging. Oh my gosh. They still propose gun buyback. Oh my, this is just, so basically wants a war because that's what you want to get over. You're out of your effing mind if you think you'll give up my rights and give up the government all power, Biggs said. They prompted an accidentally honest response from Swalwell.
And it would be short war, my friend. The government has nukes. Too many of them. But they're legit. And I'm sure if we could find common ground to protect our families and communities.
And they're legit. We're going to start blasting middle Americans in the nuke silos that we supposedly have.
And that's what we want to hear from big government. That, like, you don't need your guns.
Take your guns. If you don't need your
guns. It's like, I'm not giving up my gun, buddy. That's kind of, blah, blah, blah. You're the one person that the second, it talks about protecting myself from is the government. And now you're the one there telling me.
People like yourself.
When somebody breaks into your house, you have an intruder, right? And he's got a gun and maybe you're coming out down the steps with your gun. And now you guys meet on the steps and you're both, give me your gun. And you can let this criminal smooth talk you like, you got a really nice home here. Just give me your gun. Just give me your gun. You don't need yours. I'll keep mine on you. Would that even be a conversation you hold?
Buy another one.
It's not even a conversation you want to hold. You got the criminal there with his gun, and he's wanting yours. Here you got the Swalwell saying, just give us your guns. These are dangerous, and if you don't, we'll use a nukes. Now it's like, well, I don't know if I want the government having nukes if I can't have a gun. And it's like, it's.
Hey, I want a nuke and give the government the guns.
Yeah. Come on, Swalwell. This guy's a real piece.
Wow.
Real piece.
He's got a real snaggletooth on that Swalwell.
Let's see this here. Let's go to this actual original post if we can.
Uh-oh. Hey, look at him. He's more toolish. Look at he's trying to pop his collar.
He's kind of looking like old.
Teeth shaved all nice and flat. Real toolish.
Kind of an Obama-ish design-ish.
Go big, go bold, do good. Dude, look, hold on, stop. Look at this. Tells you the guy's intelligence. Just read his slogan.
Go big, be bold, do good.
Do good.
Do good.
It just sounds very I'm hyped up on, like, I hit the gym a lot, and it's because I was a football player in 1930. He started staying off his old football stats. Wow.
All right.
Ballwell, Douglas Bront says.
So real quick, folks, while we got a second here, if you look behind me here, the Patriot Hour, it's a silk screen print from our good
one of you awesome patriots out there.
Friends at the let me see here. Jet Customs. Look at this stuff. All right, whoops, I have your volume down, Ben. I saw you talking there. Dang it.
Oh.
All right, so, yep, they sent me that, folks, and awesome. This is
get into it. Ready for it? Here it comes, you guys. Oh, look at that. Look at that awesomeness.
That's a shirt. That's a shirt right there. I should have threw it on, but just got this stuff right before we decided to go live. I barely got the flag up behind me. that I just wanted to show you guys. Very, very awesome. And that is, if you ever need to wash this stuff, hangings, wash on gentle cycle, hand wash, no bleach, of course. Get that back in
That's
here.
extra.
There you are. I was actually hearing you that time.
Nice. That's awesome, man. Thank you guys so much. What was that website again they can go to get some other awesome stuff from those guys?
Yeah, they actually wrote here, "Hey, Michael, I heard you say one day on the show if anyone wanted to send you something to hang on the wall, to do so. Sending a couple things your way as a thank you for all of the hard work and time you devote to putting out the truth to all of us. It is a true blessing and appreciated by all of us tuning in, especially to those of us who either don't have many people in the real world to connect to or don't have anyone that all around us who is awake. Your channel, along with several others I watch, plus some of the live chats, hopefully they're watching tonight, are all, some of us have to remind ourselves that we are sane and we're not alone. You're not alone. We're here with you.
Yeah, you
also
are together, brother.
I'm sending you a dry fit sublimation print t-shirt to wear. Yes, that is very awesome. And your show and patriotism and support of Q, who is about to bring the pain. I mean, folks, they go on and on. We limited on time, but we will have shows where we can maybe spend.
That
the whole
is
time
so
streaming.
awesome! Oh my gosh, you guys said that is so
Jet
great. We'll get
Custom.
some more.
Jet Custom. I got a couple cards here. If you guys need anything, definitely get a hold of them. I put it up.
JetCustom.com. Thank you guys so much down there. That's awesome.
Got this one from Chip and Jackie. I think it's Chip and Jackie. I'm hoping. Yep. They put "God bless America" and the plan to save the world. God wins, and so does the frog. Michael, thanks for so much that all you do. They actually have some drawings in it. The frog.
Nice. Look
Very
at that.
awesome. This they also this was in there. Little Q.
Little bling Q.
Little bling.
Remember that when that first
bling,
started?
bling.
That lady who used to have that little video. That was all she was. And it was a phone. It was all blingy Q.
Thank you, Michael, for all you are doing with the Patriot Hour. Yours was the YouTube channel that brought us aboard. We wanted Patriots, and there you were. Thanks again. WWG1, WGL, Chip and Jackie Mattoon. Thank you guys so much. Rough and Ready. We succeeded from the U.S. in 1856. Rough and Ready, California or something. That's awesome. They actually sent a donation, so thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's super awesome, you guys.
Now this one was a paper that showed up. Not sure you guys can see that there.
Tukumtesh Chieftain.
Kind of cool.
Nice. Little Veterans Memorial.
And then there's a letter. Dear Michael, Ben, and the Woodman, because you are such an amazing Patriots, I wanted to share the exciting news from our little town. You are very likely to appreciate seeing our newly installed Veterans Memorial, which is to be dedicated today. My oldest grandson is the youngest Coast Guard guy to reach Master Chief Storekeeper. He was recently honored, thank you for your service, by the way, at a ceremony for his heroic service and during a hurricane issue. He is being reassigned to Alaska and will stop here in Nebraska, southeast Nebraska, en route. That is very awesome. Enjoy your visit. I greatly appreciate all the energy you guys pour into your videos, shows, memes, and live broadcasts. Thank you so much. My husband served in Korea during his Army days. Veterans and Veterans Day, Memorial Day, are very special to us and our family.
Oh, yes.
Enjoy the article from our newspaper and all the photos. If you like, you may find the rest of our weekly paper if you have the time to look at it. You may read the rest of it. Yes, I will. Grateful, Connie Baum. Thank you so much, Connie.
That is awesome. That is really cool about the memorial thing, because that's now a place, you guys have a place to go to now gather a bunch of other people, and it can come and it can be an annual thing where you guys go to. That's where, you know, I don't live where we were coming in and broadcasting in, where that the American Legion event that those guys and the Patriot Riders were hosting out there, but it was a great place. I mean, it was just a beautiful spot, and Mike and I and the team here wanted to bring it to you guys.
Yes. We got one from Wanda, Mrs. Wanda Jowers from Jacksonville, Florida. Enjoy your show very much.
Nice.
Thank you for, you're very talented. Thank you for all your services. Very short,
Thank you.
sweet. She also sent a
Oh, that's
donation.
awesome. I love that. It's like on a grocery shopping list you'd have. You write down there. That's awesome stuff. Because it's from the heart, and that's what we love.
Yeah. I get one here from a guy, Scott Simmons Painting, Utah. Scott Simmons Painting, and he's done this a few times, just like a printed out check from the banks. It's a donation.
Oh my
Thank
gosh,
you very much, Scott.
you guys, that's nothing but blessings, you guys, man. That is sweet.
And then this one's back from April. I just never read it. Jonna Burulin. She's wrote before, folks, around Christmas time. She wrote again. I think I'm saying that right. Can you pronounce that, Ben? Is it Jonah?
Brilliant.
It's Jonah
yeah,
Burulin. We're not trying to. But Jonah, thank you so much. This one here, I'll read it real quick.
Yeah.
And she sent a donation as well. This one, again, is from April, the end of April. I think I got these in a pile, but sorry it's been a little while. I'm so grateful for all you do and get the information out via the Patriot Hour. We are blessed to have the Patriots like you. The president needs our help draining the swamp. He works tirelessly to keep us safe. I feel like you are family. You and I, as I want daily to hear and take your daily takes on Q. Thank you so much for keeping us informed on the worldly events. God bless you and Godspeed. Where we go one, we go all. Love, John Oth. So thank you, and that concludes.
Oh, that is so
our
awesome.
letters.
Man, you see, you guys.
Episode.
And even though it's like, Mike not me, even when he puts out the episodes and it's kind of hard to get to mail, always in Garage Talk when mails come in and pieces come in, we're always talking. It's like, oh my gosh, dude. He's clipping pictures and showing me. We're like, man, this is amazing. We still, both of us, know everybody here just feels so incredibly blessed when you guys really, it's really because of you guys and the feedback that's kept Mike going, putting out the videos, and us over here at the team trying to put forth as much as we can and come in with an idea, then try to research it, and
I wanted to,
cool.
And we can both kind of have I know we've been talking about this quite a bit, and I had these notes, and it was a premise for a while, what I wrote the video on today, the one that's out there now, folks, on the channel, that we kind of started with a little bit into this episode. So about the insurance policy that Trump talked about standing by Air Force, not Air Force One, but Marine One, the helicopter. He said, what about the insurance policy that was never looked into yet? Trump said that we're living this right now. That insurance policy they were talking about, we're living it. It's happening right now because this Russia hoax thing.
Unfolding.
So, Stroke and Page, their text on the government phones, folks. So why not look into that at least? Now, lots of people that are kind of defending, like, there was nothing there, Trump. You can't prove the bias. We had Stroke come in and he testified and he said he wasn't. And it's like, okay, I can testify real quick too and say I didn't work with Russia. Well, that's not going to be good enough. We want 3 years into you. So what I'm saying here, folks, is lots of people are saying that they weren't biased or you can't really prove it. Or they're saying that Stroke himself said he wasn't biased. He made sure he kept his bias at home. So we know that they're all known liars. They've all been fired. Comey's lied here. Comey's lied there. They've lied under oath. That's why a lot of these people got fired. So you can't believe them anyway. It's worth investigating. Like Trump is saying, we do know 4 years before Trump even got in that Obama was spying on political enemies. That's come out. That FISA judge ruled it all the way back to 2012. This had nothing to do with Trump. They were using this system that they had access to spy on political enemies. The minute Trump came in, started talking crap, and all the stuff that they already had going on, they were spying on all the candidates. And, that's why they had Cruz in sights too. Whoever was going to make it was going to have this treatment.
It was
all right?
a
If this was
machine.
Cruz right now, it would be some kind of treatment of him working with Russia or something. That was their plan. So Trump, before Obama, they were spying on Republicans, judges, political enemies, anyone that they deemed to be bad to their party. And now everyone's like, well, we all know this. We're following along with you, Mike. We got other channels we watch. When are there going to be arrests? When is there going to be result? When are there going to be indictments? Folks, that's what we get into. Half the population, or just under right now. We've had some people like, I've known Democrats to flip, man. They're coming over. They're hashtag walking away, man. That's great, but we're still at 40% that hate Trump in this country alone. I don't know about the world, but we're worrying about right here, right now. 40% or so are never Trumpers. They're brainwashed. They've taken in all the antidotes, all the propaganda, and they repeat it. They don't even know why they don't like Trump, but they hate him. They will riot. They will burn. They will kill. They will set up buildings on fire, flip cars over. And when you're out in the street, hey man, don't do that. Just be a good citizen. They're going to shoot at you. So they're going to kill Christians. They're going to kill Trump supporters in general. So that's why timing is everything. That's why they've said it in a Q post. We left it up to Q, or Q said we left it up to Trump. It's on him. Timing is everything. Folks, I think they want to wake up, and like me and Ben were saying, maybe with this next Pfizer release, it's going to show a little more. And each time we get more and more truth, we go from 40% hating Trump down to 38, down to 35, down to 32, down to 30, 28, 25, hopefully downwards of 15 to 10%. And then you do things, and if you only have 10% of the population going out and rioting, it's a little easier to put a quell on it, to stop it, to
I
put the
agree.
fire out.
I mean,
we don't want to, and I don't think Trump hates these people, even though we do. We get upset, like, I ran into a liberal and he was going off, and I yelled at him, and we had nothing but a pissing match of spitting almost by the end of the time. And, it's like Trump's probably like, these people have been brainwashed. They don't really hate me. They don't know. They hate the idea of me. They hate what the left has told them about me. And if I can fix that, or over time, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how compassionate the guy is, but I would only imagine that that's least of your concern is somebody that thinks you're racist, even though you're like, they fell for it all, But yeah, what is your take on all that? Go ahead, Ben.
Well, no, you're describing, this is just yet another type of cognitive dissonance. There are some people who are so, when you talk, what we call it brainwashing, it's eating the milk toast of information for 30, 40, 50, 60 years or 20 years, or they grew up in a bubble, or just this idea of just never having an understanding of what's really truly happening in the world. And this is what's happening when truth is literally being revealed to them, and saying, look at spying, that's a big word. Why are you using that word? I mean, that's like you said, well, Trump's saying, no, it articulates what the behavior was and the crimes committed. And so it's like, they've never heard this stuff. It's like you're popping their little emotional bubbles, and it's some people will never wake up from it. And if it does get down, like you said, to 10%, 8%, there will only be in very small pockets in large cities where it all began and started from. And the problem is there's more of us than them. And even the left is projecting a landslide in 2020. When you have the opposition who is literally doing everything they can, and we speculate on a lot of things they're up to, which were probably highly accurate, or at least within the shooting range, you know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
Of what's going on. And so they're just everybody, they're up in arms, like this can't do it. What are you gonna run on? This guy tried to run on, buy your guns back, and he's
yeah. And the rest of them are running on impeachment. They don't have, like we said, a solid idea. Like Trump's got, we're building the wall, we're gonna get the economy good. That's already happening. So the only thing they got is like, we need to impeach this guy, and that's like maybe vote for me and I can get him impeached by by the time I win. It's like, well, if we vote for you and you're in, then what's the impeachment? It doesn't make sense. This Henry Kissinger, that's his name on here, at the Patriot Hour, thoughts on Vox Day. I don't know who Vox Day is. Vox Day, aka Teddy Spaghetti. He said he wants to debate you both, but you guys chickened out, and that he would win anyways. Debate us on what?
I've actually I know I haven't. I've watched a few of his videos. It's he's with the Deplorables or something like that. He's a Vox Day. He's a pretty smart dude, actually. I like what he has a lot to say. He's actually got a lot of really cool points, and I actually like the guy a whole bunch. I don't know. Here's the thing. It's almost like, you guys, there's so much emails that Mike gets, and I try my best to help him out, sift through them, but there's like hundreds, if not thousands, he gets. So if you guys are serious, email it times and like put it in the comment, like
I don't even
when you
know
go in the
the
board
guy
section, but
at
it's
all.
like
I don't
no,
watch a
him. He's
lot of
pretty cool.
YouTube. I don't watch a lot of YouTube guys, so I don't know all the other people out there. I know Ben watches a little more, keeps up with some other things than I do. But
yeah, there's a few people I kind of track. I listen to him. There's a few people I look at too, and he does some great stuff. It's kind of like us. He
never
sits there.
heard of him, and that's great that he told you that he. Well, tell him. I'm sure he wants to debate us, and he said he'd win. Well, tell him I said I'd debate him, and I would win.
On what,
I would smash
like
that
us.
dude into the ground under the rug with facts, and he would just be smoking out of the ears. So tell him that, and then we'll get to him in about a year when we have freaking time for him, because we just don't have time for nonsense. Oh, Teddy Spaghetti, eating mom's spaghetti all over my face, and I'm ready. So carry the message back.
Yeah, no. What are you gonna do?
What are you going to do?
Back and keep on doing. Keep on saying what we have been saying.
Yep.
I mean, we're all speculating at this point on the 20% that's public and the 80% that's non. We're watching the same video you guys are.
Eddie Spaghetti. I'll use it all day long, buddy. You don't own jack. So there's my. I just debated you and I won. No.
Oh, is there troll?
Troll City.
So hey, get them out of that. When it's open to whoever, they're coming for it. So
that's right.
You gotta take the wheat with the tares, But yeah, no, I think we've always been pretty clear what our view is here and what it is. I know we went over a couple of things now on this last little bit. Were you wanting to take any call-ins, or what were you thinking, or was that still kind of
we're already at an hour?
We're at an hour. I know we've still been trying to figure that out. Whereas when I remote in the studio, there is sometimes having the caller call. Like you've seen the other episodes before, you guys, where the caller can call in, but we can't hear him. It's really for us because it will echo in our phones and the feedback and the programs we're using, and we're still working out the bugs.
It worked out great the first time or whatever. I mean, I know once we got it to where you could hear, it worked. But yeah, it worked.
So I definitely know that.
Yeah. No, this show is gonna expand, folks. I've seen some of the people saying in there. We already have ideas. All right, we've gotten. We want to interview people. We don't really, we want to interview and get good info. Debating is great if that's what we want to get into. Yeah. But what debate? What I see a lot of that going on YouTube. It's just a lot of nonsensical.
That's
garbage.
That word porn or word kung fu we were talking about. I mean, we're just a couple of guys who like to do a bunch of research and been doing it for a long time. And we bring some of our training and some of our experiences, like a lot of you guys out there do. And I live here, or I do this, and I saw that. Like, wow, I give you some validity because you live there and you do this, and that happened there. So I got to give you some credit. Like, we get credit on what we're saying. And I think there's enough content of us talking out there on different subjects where you can kind of gauge for yourself where each one of us has a slightly point of view on a certain subjects, but we all kind of coalesce and know that in the end, we want right to win. We want it to be, the truth to come out. What was that? That scripture it's Luke chapter 12. Now, everybody usually reads verse 2, but like verse 3 is pretty cool because it talks about that when they're, because it talks about, what's going to be dark, it will become shown to light, right? But like, verse 3 talks about when people speak in other people's ears and like inner rooms or closets or small spaces will one day be proclaimed from the rooftops. And I think that's pretty cool because that's kind of what we're talking about now, where this is all subversion. This is all deceitfulness and deceiving really at its core, because we've already talked about big time. They know and have known for a long time the root of the FISA, all this corruption, what's going on. It's like they know that we don't know, so they can now control what
They
we
operate
think we
off
know.
that. They
You
operate
know how that
off
go?
of half the information isn't available.
So that's what makes it definitely rich around here, that, you know, Woodman has his views and you know, I have mine, Mike has his. We have our common bond of being veterans, and, you know, I served in the Army, Mike served in the Navy, and we have different, you know, stories and different crazy experiences. And what's cool is we both took the oath, and we're oath, you know, takers and keepers. So and exercisers, I guess, as well. So we all the trifecta. And so when you have a common idea like that, all you can hope for is the freedom to keep on enjoying the founding documents that our society is pretty much right now loosely based on, and we want to get it back to more of a tightened down of freedom of speech. And what does that mean? Freedom of press. That means you can, if you're in public, you can videotape damn near anything. Why? Because you're in public. There's no premise of privacy. You can say anything. There is no such thing as hate speech. You don't like what the guy is preaching over there and he's saying over there about this person, about that person, you're free to walk away and not listen.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
it's
what we love
hard.
about it.
We want to get back like that. So it's like, oh, you want those guys who are spewing evil racists on the side of the corner? I'm like, yeah, they have the right to get together. They have the right to protest. Do they have the right permits? Well, yeah. All right. Do they sanction with the city and they wanted the right to exercise free speech? Well, yeah, but they're saying really bad things about us. Why don't you petition and make the law work on your side? And you want to have something to say, you and your buddies get together, and the next weekend you can get on the same corner and peddle your wares and, you know, spew your rhetoric. That's the beauty of it.
This is the whole thing with this show. When we first started, people were, you should do this, don't do that, don't wear a hat, turn on the lights, do this. I'm like, you create a show and do it. That's the whole cool thing about it. It's a freedom thing. We love freedom. The right, you know, I don't want to shut nobody down. I will debate you if that's what's happening. I typically do that more in real life. This show is about getting truth out right now. We just got into the phone calling. We got lists down of, I mean, if we're going to have people come on and go through all that, not that I'm against going on with somebody who wants to debate or oppose or go over things. We're going to always do that, but we're more so about getting some really good interviews out with people that we want to hear from. And instead of, you know, and so folks, we got all kinds of things coming up, and there's plenty of that other stuff out there. I've seen it where somebody doesn't agree with another channel, so they want to go on and think it's going to create a great show, where the whole time they're just sitting there slamming each other about, well, you know, there's one aspect that you haven't covered. Do you know about the secret UFO program that the game? It's like, hey, you know, I get it that there's, you know, do what you do, folks. I got videos that are just right now. We're talking about Mike Rogers. This is really coming to the light. The whole new thing is that a judge was told that the highest, you know, the highest over presiding judge of the FISA courts, the highest level lady. Craziness. This has all been going on for 2 years. I got a video from a year ago, covered this completely. Just did another one, way better. I like it. It's more detailed, but it reminded me, like, I've done this before. I've done this similar video with more details today than ever. But I was going back trying to find it. Got over 1,000 videos. Couldn't find it. So it's out there. I've covered the whole Rogers. I believe I called it A Name Not to Forget, or A Name to Remember. Mike Rogers, something like that.
That would be a really great old video to watch, because it's true. You think about it, and if it was back then that you were spewing and you were like pumping out to the people, like, look at, just check this out, what's happening now. I mean, there's so much drops that's been dropped just to go over, just, I mean, what to sift through to really how are they applicable. But when the president tells us that what about this insurance policy? What's this all about? That pretty much is telling you that what is it all about? Let's take a look at that, because he's saying it's happening now. What we're feeling, what the press is saying, the fake news, everybody, all these guys are saying, this is literally the coming to a fruition of the insurance policy. And we've said, okay, if there's an insurance policy, well, who's the insured? Like, who's the company who does these insurance policies? Have they been fixing the machine for a while? And they have been. They've been doing it since, what, 2012? And we know,
Who's the provider
and
of that?
speculate, yeah, who provides those insurance policies and all the contingencies, and who's the beneficiaries of that policy? So it's like,
yeah,
we know it's been going on before Trump.
If the left
and we
had
know
that happening for, like, if it was an text between a couple of high level that just got done letting Trump off, but now they're wanting to investigate Hillary, they would be having a field day. We need to blow this wide open. And if there's 2 head people doing it, how many more? And what else is going on over there? They wouldn't just, this was an isolated incident and they took care of it. You know, no. It's, you can't say that without investigating. Hilarious, folks.
Yeah, and the bottom line is we're only presenting what I hear on TV and how I interpret, and Mike's doing the same, and Woodman's on, he's doing the same, and we're taking this information, and all if we can do, what standard do we have to take all this disinformation that could be truthful information wrapped in some disinformation, and what do we throw it against to make it stick? Well, the founding documents. And so you can argue until you're blue in the face about case law and this and the interpretation, but the bottom line is the founding documents were written for all men and women, children. I mean, if you stop and think about it, it's not, they don't talk about that anymore. It's pretty straightforward. I think it's if my 8-year-old can handle it, I think you guys can too, and you guys all know it well. So that's the thing. So this is what we have to bounce it off of and say, well, we were talking about this impeachment process and some of these things that the left is calling for. And we're like, what do they really have? There is no crime. Barr's come out multiple times saying there's been no crime. That's why there's no collusion, blah, 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 blah. We've been since before. And so it's almost like you want to, tear your hair out. You want this all to happen quick, but we also know there's still a lot of people asleep at the wheel. And we got to be careful because this car can go off course very easy with a few states getting crazy out of hand. I mean, California already has background checks at Walmart to buy ammunition. I mean, I think they opened Walmart sometime in July 19th or something like that. And this is how crazy it's getting, you guys. Is they're wanting to go, if we give them what they want and we stop fighting and we lay over and we don't exercise our constitutional rights and get behind people who actually champion our sovereignty and want to build the wall, which makes us more sovereign, and put money in our treasury coffers so we can start functioning as a smaller government and not having to rely on loans for everything. I mean, it sounds pretty good to me because it's definitely the exact opposite of where we're going now, and it's only days of Noah that we're going towards.
Yeah, I agree. Let's take some comments here. We'll just do this instead of phone calls because we're already over an hour. Guys? I know you needed to, so we'll do this for a few minutes. All right, let's see. So Henry Kissinger still in here. I have brother Soros to feed the Bilderbergers. This guy set it up here too. I'm not a troll. I am a protector of the central banks. Awesome.
This is crazy. Verda Bolster says Church of Satan is suing in Indiana to do whatever they want with baby remains.
Wow.
Oof. No, that's crazy. Crazy. Yeah, we're talking about that too. They're coming for your. Wow. Joni Mullock, do you know the corrupt changed most of the Constitution? We need to go back to the original. Oh, we agree with you 100% that
if we're not going to hold to it now,
it's crazy.
When you tell all these people that things might, are taking a turn here, we're looking at this here, Trump might be, he ain't going to do nothing, it's been going on too long. Well, it's like There's also lots of treasonous things happening. Me and Ben looking into the insurrection and the treason, like just
Sedition
looking at those sedition, treason, and all the little laws around it. It's almost like we were like, man, can you apply that to maybe some of the left? Because we already have a law. Trump didn't come in and make an idea of like, I really want to put a border down there and like it's his idea. And everyone's like, this is crazy. It's already been there. Laws are in effect. He's just upholding it. And everyone's like, no. He's racist for that, and it's like we've had a bad habit of some treasonous activity going on is all, and people are used to it. But when you actually incite the large mass of people to do something that's already a law, it's already on the books, and you're kind of chanting daily, propaganding up that people shouldn't be for it, that's one thing. If people actually do it, it's another thing. That's the treasonous part, all right? That's where it separates like the, boys from the men or something. But what do we find on that, Ben? We said let's apply that to the Russia fake story. There was the known fake story that the media played into, that all the left were playing into.
They were pushing it, so
people actually rioted when Trump won. They kicked in windows, they burnt cars down. That's inciting because of the lies. That's an actual treasonous crime. That's what we found out.
Well, not only that, it's like you're talking the Sedition Act of 1918 or the Insurrection Act of 1807, and of course we're also talking about the body of law of armed conflict, and it just goes on and on. The Patriot Act, the NDAA, goes on and on. But if the news is actively, knowingly disseminating propaganda against the president, knowingly, well, that's treasonous behavior. If the left is spewing this, if like Jesse Smollett and all this thing was coming back up in the courts of all the text, and this is coming up, well, that's active treason, which is, we know how that goes. Okay, so I mean, all these things the left are doing when they come to not only reporting it, or they're saying he's doing this and they're accusing him of crimes, that's like, we're talking, that's sedition behavior stuff. Or like he went over there, talked to these guys, and came back, and he's all good. It's a small crime. It's not a big deal. And they're pumping this falsehood where it feels like we're in the day and age now that anybody can make an inflammatory, unfounded accusation, and everybody has to stop, and everybody has to quickly figure out, do you feel okay?
Are your feelings all right?
Yes. I mean, I've dealt with people who would be so insane to manipulate you to say, I feel unsafe in this area because there's, my optics of this area is just, I feel unsafe. Like, well, how? Like somebody's like, you're gonna hit by a plane or a bus is gonna hit you? No. Somebody's going to jump out of the bushes and, no. And you start going through all the actual reality of what are you afraid of. It's just, I just feel this way. And I'm like, oh my gosh, now we all have to cater to the optics of how you feel. And these guys are doing this to the nth degree to steer this thing way off track and pushing socialism, which goes directly against our Constitution, which is like treason, seditious behavior. I mean, it goes on and on. So when this all comes down, will the mainstream media like pretty much go out of business, like CNN losing millions every day, stocks going down, people getting fired, and the whole time they're saying, we're doing good, best ratings ever, because you're going down and firing everybody. So it's interesting.
All right, any more comments? Let's take a few here. Gary Holbrook, God bless President Trump and his family and staff. Good night. Good night to you, Gary. Have a great one. God bless. Sandy McLear, I stopped believing MSN in 1986. Fully red-pilled in 1998.
Nice.
Awesome.
Wow, nice.
Very good. Live in America at last call. Q.
Skitties, I'm going skateboarding behind my German Shepherd. Take care, Patriots. Oh, hey, awesome. Get out there, enjoy the weather. I know Grandpa C, we all have our things we always try to seek the truth and try to get the best we can. But again, we say all the time, don't believe us. Connect the dots for yourselves. Keep on throwing it at the founding documents that see what sticks. This is funny. Oh, sorry, Amy the Mod, Pirate, you're God's child. You have a message to share. God bless you. Yes, Amy the Mod, and all to the mods. You guys are awesome out there.
Real quick, there we have, and I, I would agree. In the past administrations, or you just don't know. This is a guy named Last Call. NSA, CIA, both enemy of the people, of the American people. Hey, you had Mike Rogers over there, and he rang the bell when he saw bad stuff happening. So.
These are, we know by sheer evidence, there's one good patriot who saw evil and ran over, and we have documentation of that. So at least we know there's one. And if there's one, there's got to be more.
Desktop, is it desktop? FISA courts exposed. I got
Andrina West. Yes, Pence is not on the ticket for 2020. Huh.
I saw that.
I wonder.
Well, can he just step out? He has to get a new. All right, look, real quick, folks, so you guys understand.
That's interesting.
This was 2 years ago with Mike Rogers. It's only a minute 58, but this tells you about the unmasking. And I don't know if he's a little upset here. This is back when he's first discovered it. This is just a thing talking about how there's only 20 people in the whole entire U.S. that can unmask.
Unmasking. The following criteria is applied. First, for the National Security Agency, we define in writing who has the authority to unmask a U.S. person identity. That is 20 individuals in 12 different positions. I am one of the 20 in one of those 12 positions, the director. Secondly, we outline in writing what are the criteria that will be applied to a request to unmask. In a report, and again, part of our process under 702 to protect the identity of U.S. persons as part of our minimization procedures, when we think we need to reference a U.S. person in a report, we will not use a name. We will not use an identity. We say U.S. person 1, U.S. person 2, U.S. person 3. That report is then promulgated. Some of the recipients of that report will sometimes come back to us and say, I'm trying to understand what I am reading. Could you help me understand who is person 1 or who is person 2, etc.? We apply 2 criteria in response to their request. Number 1, you must make the request in writing. Number 2, the request must be made on the basis of your official duties, not the fact that you just find this report really interesting and you're just curious. It has to tangibly tie to your job. And then finally, I said too, but there's a third criterion, and that is the basis of the request must be that you need this identity to understand the intelligence you're reading. We apply those 3 criteria. We do it in writing, and one of those 20 individuals then agrees or disagrees. And if we unmask, we go back to that entity who requested it, not every individual who received the report, but that one entity who asked for us. We then provide them the U.S. identity, and we also remind them the classification of this report and the sensitivity of that identity remains in place. By revealing this U.S. person to you, we are doing it to help you understand the intelligence, not so that you can use that knowledge indiscriminately. It must remain appropriately protected.
There you go.
That's pretty straightforward to me. It's like there's only 20 people in the United States of America who have the authorization to unmask, and you have to be currently on the situation in that very point. It's so specific, you guys. It is crazy, and he kept on saying paperwork.
Well, now how was these civilians that were finding out about these 3 government contracts, 4 in total, 3 of them that Comey was using? It's like they outsourced something with Brennan. It's like, well, we gave them the right to unmask, and that way the civilians doing it, when this all comes out now, it's going to be like, well you're right, they shouldn't have.
The government does get their information from private citizens through third-party data collection organizations. It's a way around our Constitution. The CIA and the NSA, probably what a lot of you guys are referring to, these are called NGOs, non-governmental organizations. plausible deniability. This goes as well on the spying on your own people. This has been going on for a long time. They're now getting so brazen. They're saying screw you to the third party people, the NGOs, and they're doing it directly within themselves. And there's a lot of speculation with some pretty heavy evidence that it's been happening at least since 2012.
Yes.
Maybe even
maybe
2008.
Sooner. Yeah, maybe sooner.
even sooner. Yeah, and a lot sooner. Of course, we speculate, but the evidence we believe coming out could be.
Yeah, we can only go back to 2012 right
2008.
now. That's about 2012 is where I'm
about
good
where
with
we're-
stopping
yep.
at. Now we get back there, we uncover, and how far does it go back more? We could always, keep going, but the evidence is pointing back to at least 2012, well before Trump. Trump just happened to get caught up into it. But again, we're going to keep following along. All right, we're at an hour 20, and I know you have
this is
boys and stuff, so let's
Yep.
let's wrap this up. Let's
No, I just lots of love for having to come up on in here. All you guys watching and who can just come in the chats. You guys are just, everything from asking great questions to, things about we would never thought of. So again, thank you to all you guys. God bless you guys. Thank you. And we always talk about it. If you're an expert at something and you know about something, you want to get it out to us, you want to come on, email us, whatever. Again, we're about knowing more information. We're not an expert at everything. We wish we were. That would be really pretty awesome if we were. But I think together as a team here, we're trying to connect dots as best we can. And again, we're like you guys. We're getting the information we have. We have no inside track. We have no inside secret man we're getting information from. We're just a bunch of dudes who like to do a lot of research, and Mike and I know how to do it kind of uniquely, and so it's awesome. So lots of love and thanks to all you guys for sure.
Sweet. All right, that was Ben. We always appreciate having him in here, folks. Again, it's like he said, don't ever take our word to be 100% true, to be 100%, the word. You're going to connect your own dots. We're going to go over lots of things, all right? Now, we do have, being in the military and having some clearances. Yes, we are, I feel pretty good at, doing the research, connecting the dots, getting through, reading lots of garbage and being able to put that over here, file it, and pick out the meat and definitely spit out the bone. So folks, like we said, don't ever take our word. Always think for yourself. All right. Always think for yourself, connect your own dots. And we're going to get into great things in the future. But right now it's about getting through some of these news stories, connecting the dots, getting out what we think is pertinent to you at that given time. All right. And that's what we do. That's in the intelligence communities. You're going to look at a lot of different stuff, and some of it doesn't pertain to what you're looking for. All right. If you're happen to be looking at tons of emails or listening in on phone calls, you're going to hear a lot of phone calls and a lot of conversation that doesn't work for you and just doesn't pertain to what you're looking for, but you're looking and hoping to get that one nugget. All right. So that's all we can do collectively. We've been on point with some of these stories, and we are at coming to something big, folks, something big. I know we got resistance and the left in sorts of deep state fighting back at every chance they get. What is going to be their next move? We are not excited, but we will be here to cover it and break it wide open. So again, I'm Mike. This is a Patriot Hour. God bless each and every one of you. We'll see you back here possibly tomorrow sometime for a show. Look for another live show, possibly Sunday evening, and then something next week for sure. Again, I'm Mike. God bless each and every one of you, and we'll see you back here real soon on the next Patriot Hour.
So it is to the printing press, to the recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive. Fight for what's right. Fight for your life.
FISA court exposes Obama's abuse of the NSA to spy on Americans. Washington, D.C. The Obama White House used the most sensitive, intrusive surveillance systems of the NSA to spy on Americans. A ruling by FISA court preceding Judge Rosemary Collyer finds that 85% of the NSA database requests under the FISA Section 702 authority at the DOJ were illegal and or non-compliant. Surveillance systems including PRISM spying on hundreds if not thousands of Americans, including Donald Trump and those around him. Moreover, Collyer finds that the Department of Justice showed an appalling lack of institutional candor. The FISA Judge Collyer rules illegal spying did occur. Back in April of 2017, Judge Collyer found that the unwarranted and illegal surveillance of American citizens was done by the highest reaches of the Obama administration for at least 4 years prior to Trump, starting back in 2012. Moreover, James Comey did authorize and allow for limitless, continuous, unlawful, and warrantless access by 3 federal contractors. Now, out of approximately 5,000 searches of the NSA database from October of 2016 to April of 2017 in the National Security Division of the DOJ, 4,250 of those searches were deemed illegal or non-compliant by the presiding judge of the FISA court, which is Judge Rosemary Collyer. And the reason was because targets were American citizens, prominent Republicans, judges, any political opponent to the last administration, really. That the abuse was continuous, frequently, and entering the same person's name over and over a period of time. Collyer ruled that this information was shared and then disseminated unlawfully to none other than John Brennan and James Clapper. I mean, I am sick of these people's names coming up. And furthermore, the information was disseminated within the Obama administration in a violation of the Fourth Amendment. This went from Obama and Brennan. The damage that was brought on to America was just sick at this next level. How is it that Obama and Brennan could get away with being so diabolically sociopathic? Sure, they knew what they were doing was illegal, all under the authorization of James Comey, who also knew it was all illegal. It seems it was pure arrogance and hubris. They were sure they would not get caught. They were sure that Hillary Clinton's election was inevitable and it would all be covered up. Their crimes buried, locked away, classified for the next 50 years. This was grave damage to our country, and every American should be pissed. Oh, I'm sure they all thought they would get a promotion for their efforts with Hillary, and when they did get caught, they fought back with treason by continuing to usurp the Constitution, undermining the incoming president with the totally made-up fake Russia hoax witch hunt, trying to cover up their litany of crimes, and staging an attempted coup against the current administration, Donald J. Trump. I pledge allegiance to the deep state of America and to the banana republic for which it stands, one nation, under a FISA court with a secret police and surveillance for all. This is what Obama must have said every morning. Folks, a reckoning is coming. Fortunately for America, we have Mike Rogers, who is a true patriot. He uncovered and stopped this abuse and reported it to the FISA court judge. Again, this FISA court judge, Rosemary Collyer, presented honest findings to the Attorney General and the Director of National Intelligence, DNI, outlining the specific, intentional, systematic, unlawful, treasonous, and unconstitutional nature of this abuse. She called it illegal and a clear violation of the Fourth Amendment. Illegal spying on Americans. Who are the names? Judge Collyer has ordered the court to be provided the names of every single person targeted by this spying. Additionally, information on the content of every query entered in the NSA surveillance database. Folks, once these names are made public, and they will be, a firestorm will erupt over the depth and the corruption of the Obama White House abuse of the intelligence agencies and political processes. Oh, this is going to be a huge shadow over a fraction of this country. Certain people will be gone, erased from history. And all the fake news media and pundits don't think Trump understands or knows what's going on. I think he has access and he's been looking at lots of things. He tweeted this recently. Treason. Makes you wonder. Then you got this Billy Eschner that tweeted, called me old-fashioned, but I personally think a president committing treason is worse than lying about a blowjob. Well, called me old-fashioned, Billy, but I like evidence, and I typically go where that leads. Who was Obama spying on? Why, everyone, of course. Consider the situation. You got John Brennan, James Comey, and James Clapper. They gave themselves, or are given by President Obama, the authority to obliterate the rule of law and the Fourth Amendment, and surveil without limit any person they wanted. Political enemies, members of the press, Supreme Court justices, senators, presidential candidates. Donald Trump. starting the minute Trump began criticizing Barack Obama. This is all very unconstitutional, East German, police state tactics. Accessing their phone calls and emails, taking over their computers, duplicating their keystrokes, able to get a full readout of every website they ever visited. What porn do they watch? Are they a freaking private? What secrets do they have? A total police state. Stasi, East German style tactics. Gestapo jackboots with unlimited authority and zero oversight. This isn't a theory. This is what actually happened. So what do you think the White House did? Obama and his henchmen did exactly what it looks like they did. They used the NSA programs to spy on Americans, illegally, systematically, and for malign purposes. These are the facts as expressed by the head of the FISA court and filed with the Attorney General. Barr has all of this. He's got the names and he knows. And also I'll mention the Director of National Intelligence. Over 2 years ago, on April 26 of 2017. So this would have even gone back to the last Attorney General and the Director of National Intelligence and been handed over to the new heads of each department. I am not happy to report on this. I'm actually really sad for our country. We all should be. This is a really huge setback. We were all really scared of this as the intelligence and gathering of all personal information was coming up, and there were lots of congressional hearings on it, and worried, truly worried Americans, and they promised that they would never abuse or misuse the systems. And here we have a prime example of at the worst too, at the worst level it could happen at, to a incoming president, a civilian, a non-political person, all these years, didn't really ever hold any other office, and he was a true outsider coming in. And now we know this has a much bigger meaning. This is a huge thing, but a lot of us know there's even more to all of this, which we'll get into in the following videos coming up. But again, the whole big thing to remember here is Mike Rogers, all right? The hero, Admiral Mike Rogers, an American hero, an unsung hero in all of this. There will be books, movies, and he'll have a nice paragraph, I would believe, in the history books, folks. So the mastermind behind the operation, right? John Brennan, James Comey, and James Clapper. Although their names are redacted on the FISA ruling, Comey providing unlimited access to the database for the 3 contractors who appear to have worked for Brennan and Clapper under the CIA and or DNI authority. Whatever they were doing, they made at least 40,000 queries in 4 years. That's about 10,000 per year. The whole scheme came to light when the NSA director, Admiral Mike Rogers, was informed that continued systematic unauthorized access to the NSA databases through the FISA 702 authority was occurring. Now, he actually had access and he did a query check. He was one of the 20 people or so, or 12 people that had access to this, and he would sit down once in a while and look kind of like at the history of a computer to see what was being searched and how it was being accessed and the ways that they were looking to unmask. Let's take a little listen in here from this court case where he talks about this from a couple years ago.
So with respect to unmasking, the following criteria is applied. First, for the National Security Agency, we define in writing who has the authority to unmask a U.S. person identity. That is 20 individuals in 12 different positions. I am one of the 20 in one of those 12 positions, the director. Secondly, we outline in writing what are the criteria that will be applied to a request to unmask. In a report, and again, part of our process under 702 to protect the identity of U.S. persons as part of our minimization procedures, when we think we need to reference a U.S. person in a report, we will not use a name. We will not use an identity. We say U.S. person 1, U.S. person 2, U.S. person 3. That report is then promulgated. Some of the recipients of that report will sometimes come back to us and say, I'm trying to understand what I am reading. Could you help me understand who is person one or who is person two, et cetera? We apply 2 criteria in response to their request. Number 1, you must make the request in writing. Number 2, the request must be made on the basis of your official duties, not the fact that you just find this report really interesting and you're just curious. It has to tangibly tie to your job. And then finally, I said 2, but there's a 3rd criterion, and that is the basis of the request must be that you need this identity to understand the intelligence you're reading. We apply those 3 criteria. We do it in writing, and one of those 20 individuals then agrees or disagrees. And if we unmask, we go back to that entity who requested it, not every individual who received the report, but that one entity who asked for us. We then provide them the U.S. identity, and we also remind them the classification of this report and the sensitivity of that identity remains in place. By revealing this U.S. person to you, we are doing it to help you understand the intelligence, not so that you can use that knowledge indiscriminately. It must remain appropriately protected.
Are you ready? This is going to be huge when it hits. Coyer, the FISA court judge, ruled that 85% of the DOJ searches of the NSA database were illegal. The audit reveals that the NSA database was accessed 5,000 times. Mike Rogers found 5,000 queries in the 6-month time frame. Furthermore, 85% of those queries were illegal and or unauthorized. That's 4,250 unlawful, non-compliant queries using names of American citizens, email addresses, phone numbers, or other identifying information. They further found that the use of the databases under these illegal circumstances had begun far back as 2012. This is unbelievable. Now they're covering up their crimes by staging a coup of a Russia hoax. We know this. Folks, buckle up. I know lots of you say you're ready, you know all of this. What's the holdup? Why aren't there any arrests? That's because we're just over half the population now that understand this. 40% are still anti-Trump. They will riot, they will burn, they will kill. They will cause havoc upon this country. That's why timing is everything. Left upon POTUS. This is a taint stain on our history. As each FISA D-class comes out and exposes this, from the 40% that are unawake, will drop down to 38%, 35, 30, 28, 25, so on and so forth. Hopefully down to just 15% that will flip, riot, and go to the streets once Trump starts mass arrest. This is why timing is everything. I know a lot of you don't care. You say, bring it on. You're ready to do something. But that's just not the way it works when somebody's got a plan of attack, a plan to expose and rid the evil. I don't think Trump hates the average citizen. I think he knows that they've been brainwashed by a heavy propaganda machine with, and all of that is treasonous as well. We're going to get into all of that, folks. You look into the insurrection, you look into treason. You can't really stand up and promote for laws that are already on the books. Like Trump didn't start the border wall. Trump didn't start a lot of this stuff. But you have people opposing them, and not just opposing, but you have people in positions that should be upholding the Constitution. They took the oath, and they're actually promoting on TV and getting people to rally the masses. Even with this fake story, the whole Russiagate, people were rioting when Trump won. because of the stories that they had made up and fabricated and pushed and helped push along. People like Pelosi and Schumer, all of them, Adam Schiff. I mean, that's treasonous acts. If not some form of it, all right? Is it high treason or is it a lower level? Sedition, tons of these other laws. People are going away. There will be indictments. We're going to keep catering the story in for you, showing it, following it all the way down to the last person's arrest. I'm Michael. This is a Patriot Hour. God bless each and every one of you worldwide. Where we go one, we go all. Remember, no deals, just pain. FISA court exposes Obama's abuse of the NSA to spy on Americans. Washington, D.C. The Obama White House used the most sensitive, intrusive surveillance systems of the NSA to spy on Americans. A ruling by FISA court preceding Judge Rosemary Collyer finds that 85% of the NSA database requests under the FISA Section 702 authority at the DOJ were illegal and or non-compliant. Surveillance systems including PRISM, spying on hundreds if not thousands of Americans, including Donald Trump and those around him. Moreover, Collyer finds that the Department of Justice showed an appalling lack of institutional candor. The FISA Judge Collyer rules illegal spying did occur. Back in April of 2017, Judge Collyer found that the unwarranted and illegal surveillance of American citizens was done by the highest reaches of the Obama administration for at least 4 years prior to Trump, starting back in 2012. Moreover, James Comey did authorize and allow for limitless, continuous, unlawful, and warrantless access by 3 federal contractors. Now, out of approximately 5,000 searches of the NSA database from October of 2016 to April of 2017 in the National Security Division of the DOJ, 4,250 of those searches were deemed illegal or non-compliant by the presiding judge of the FISA court, which is Judge Rosemary Collyer. And the reason was because targets were American citizens, prominent Republicans, judges, any political opponent to the last administration, really. That the abuse was continuous, frequently, and entering the same person's name over and over a period of time. Coyle ruled that this information was shared and then disseminated unlawfully to none other than John Brennan and James Clapper. I mean, I am sick of these people's names coming up. And furthermore, the information was disseminated within the Obama administration in a violation of the Fourth Amendment. This went from Obama and Brennan. The damage that was brought on to America was just sick at this next level. How is it that Obama and Brennan could get away with being so diabolically sociopathic? Sure, they knew what they were doing was illegal, all under the authorization of James Comey, who also knew it was all illegal. It seems it was pure arrogance and hubris. They were sure they would not get caught. They were sure that Hillary Clinton's election was inevitable and it would all be covered up. Their crimes buried, locked away, classified for the next 50 years. This was grave damage to our country, and every American should be pissed. Oh, I'm sure they all thought they would get a promotion for their efforts with Hillary, and when they did get caught, they fought back with treason by continuing to usurp the Constitution, undermining the incoming president with the totally made-up fake Russia hoax witch hunt, trying to cover up their litany of crimes, and staging an attempted coup against the current administration, Donald J. Trump. I pledge allegiance to the deep state of America and to the banana republic for which it stands, one nation, under a FISA court with a secret police and surveillance for all. This is what Obama must have said every morning. Folks, a reckoning is coming. Fortunately for America, we have Mike Rogers, who is a true patriot. He uncovered and stopped this abuse and reported it to the FISA court judge. Again, this FISA court judge, Rosemary Collyer, presented honest findings to the Attorney General and the Director of National Intelligence, DNI, outlining the specific, intentional, systematic, unlawful, treasonous, and unconstitutional nature of this abuse. She called it illegal and a clear violation of the Fourth Amendment. Illegal spying on Americans. Who are the names? Judge Collyer has ordered the court to be provided the names of every single person targeted by this spying. Additionally, information on the content of every query entered in the NSA surveillance database. Folks, once these names are made public, and they will be, a firestorm will erupt over the depth and the corruption of the Obama White House abuse of the intelligence agencies and political processes. Oh, this is going to be a huge shadow over a fraction of this country. Certain people will be gone, erased from history. all the fake news media and pundits don't think Trump understands or knows what's going on. I think he has access and he's been looking at lots of things. He tweeted this recently. Treason. Makes you wonder. Then you got this Billy Eschner that tweeted, called me old-fashioned, but I personally think a president committing treason is worse than lying about a blowjob. Well, called me old-fashioned, Billy, but I like evidence, and I typically go where that leads. Who was Obama spying on? Why, everyone, of course. Consider the situation. You got John Brennan, James Comey, and James Clapper. They gave themselves, or are given by President Obama, the authority to obliterate the rule of law and the Fourth Amendment and surveil without limit any person they wanted. Political enemies, members of the press, Supreme Court justices, senators, presidential candidates. Donald Trump. Starting the minute Trump began criticizing Barack Obama. This is all very unconstitutional, East German, police state tactics. Accessing their phone calls and emails, taking over their computers, duplicating their keystrokes, able to get a full readout of every website they ever visited. What porn do they watch? Are they a freaking private? What secrets do they have? A total police state. Stasi, East German style tactics. Gestapo jackboots with unlimited authority and zero oversight. This isn't a theory. This is what actually happened. So what do you think the White House did? Obama and his henchmen did exactly what it looks like they did. They used the NSA programs to spy on Americans, illegally, systematically, and for malign purposes. These are the facts as expressed by the head of the FISA court and filed with the Attorney General. Barr has all of this. He's got the names and he knows. And also I'll mention the Director of National Intelligence. Over 2 years ago, on April 26 of 2017. So this would have even gone back to the last Attorney General and the Director of National Intelligence and been handed over to the new heads of each department. I am not happy to report on this. I'm actually really sad for our country. We all should be. This is a really huge setback. We were all really scared of this as the intelligence and gathering of all personal information was coming up, and they were lots of congressional hearings on it, and worried, truly worried Americans, and they promised that they would never abuse or misuse the systems. And here we have a prime example of at the worst too, at the worst level it could happen at, to a incoming president, a civilian, a non-political person, all these years didn't really ever hold any other office, and he was a true outsider coming in. And now we know this has a much bigger meaning. This is a huge thing, but a lot of us know there's even more to all of this, which we'll get into in the following videos coming up. But again, the whole big thing to remember here is Mike Rogers, all right? The hero, Admiral Mike Rogers, an American hero, an unsung hero in all of this. There will be books, movies, and he'll have a nice paragraph, I would believe, in the history books, folks. So the mastermind behind the operation, right? John Brennan, James Comey, and James Clapper. Although their names are redacted on the FISA ruling, Comey providing unlimited access to the database for the 3 contractors who appear to have worked for Brennan and Clapper under the CIA and or DNI authority. Whatever they were doing, they made at least 40,000 queries in 4 years. That's about 10,000 per year. The whole scheme came to light when the NSA Director, Admiral Mike Rogers, was informed that continued systematic unauthorized access to the NSA databases through the FISA 702 authority was occurring. Now, he actually had access and he did a query check. He was one of the 20 people or so, or 12 people that had access to this, and he would sit down once in a while and look kind of like at the history of a computer to see what was being searched and how it was being accessed and the ways that they were looking to unmask. Let's take a little listen in here from this court case where he talks about this from a couple years ago.
So with respect to unmasking, the following criteria is applied. First, for the National Security Agency, we define in writing who has the authority to unmask a U.S. person identity. That is 20 individuals in 12 different positions. I am one of the 20 in one of those 12 positions, the director. Secondly, we outline in writing what are the criteria that will be applied to a request to unmask. In a report, and again, part of our process under 702 to protect the identity of U.S. persons as part of our minimization procedures, when we think we need to reference a U.S. person in a report, we will not use a name. We will not use an identity. We say U.S. person 1, U.S. person 2, U.S. person 3. That report is then promulgated. Some of the recipients of that report will sometimes come back to us and say, I'm trying to understand what I am reading. Could you help me understand who is person 1 or who is person 2, et cetera? We apply 2 criteria in response to their request. Number 1, you must make the request in writing. Number 2, the request must be made on the basis of your official duties, not the fact that you just find this report really interesting and you're just curious. It has to tangibly tie to your job. And then finally, I said too, but there's a third criterion, and that is the basis of the request must be that you need this identity to understand the intelligence you're reading. We apply those 3 criteria, we do it in writing, and one of those 20 individuals then agrees or disagrees. And if we unmask, we go back to that entity who requested it, not every individual who received the report, but that one entity who asked for us. We then provide them the U.S. identity, and we also remind them the classification of this report and the sensitivity of that identity remains in place. By revealing this U.S. person to you, we are doing it to help you understand the intelligence, not so that you can use that knowledge indiscriminately. It must remain appropriately protected.
Are you ready? This is going to be huge when it hits. Coyer, the FISA court judge, ruled that 85% of the DOJ searches of the NSA database were illegal. The audit reveals that the NSA database was accessed 5,000 times. Mike Rogers found 5,000 queries in the 6-month time frame. Furthermore, 85% of those queries were illegal and or unauthorized. That's 4,250 unlawful, non-compliant queries using names of American citizens, email addresses, phone numbers, or other identifying information. They further found that the use of the databases under these illegal circumstances had begun far back as 2012. This is unbelievable. Now they're covering up their crimes by staging a coup of a Russia hoax. We know this. Folks, buckle up. I know lots of you say you're ready, you know all of this. What's the holdup? Why aren't there any arrests? That's because we're just over half the population now that understand this. 40% are still anti-Trump. They will riot, they will burn, they will kill. They will cause havoc upon this country. That's why timing is everything. Left upon POTUS. This is a taint stain on our history. As each FISA D class comes out and exposes this, from the 40% that are unawake, will drop down to 38%, 35, 30, 28, 25, so on and so forth. Hopefully down to just 15%.
So it
that
is
will-
to the printing press, to the recorder of man's deeds, the keeper of his conscience, the courier of his news, that we look for strength and assistance. Without debate, without criticism, no administration and no country can succeed, and no republic can survive.